Hey, I'm here today and I'm going to show you how to make bows with wired ribbon. It sounds tricky, but it's really not. I'll explain everything and you'll love it. Let's do it!
Okay, so here we go. I have my wired ribbon here. Really super cute, one of my favorites. One thing to note about wired ribbon is sometimes there's a right side or the pretty side and the wrong side. This is the pretty side because you can see the colors carried all the way through, and this is the wrong side, which I'm going to try to hide as much as possible. Okay, from here I have the wrong side face up, and I put my finger down and I have a little bit of a tail. If you're new to this, you're going to want to maybe have more of a tail until you get more comfortable with doing this. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm showing you that with this tutorial, you don't need measurements or anything. You decide and dictate how big and poofy you want your bow to be. It could be as big as you want or as teeny as you want. At this point, I'm deciding to make it about that big, which I'm not sure how big it is, but you get the idea. And I'm creasing it, and I'm putting my finger in an area so you could still see I have a tail. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another loop. But wait a moment, hold up, what is that? That's the wrong side. We don't want to see none of that. So what I do is, while keeping the middle together, which I would say is the trickiest part of this, I give it a little bit of a twist. See? As you do this more and more, it gets easier and easier. So I created a little twist so that, all right, come on girl. All right. So once I loop it over again, you can see that the pretty side is on the outside, and you're going to continue this throughout the whole ribbon. You're going to flip it over, and I'm flattening it because with the wired ribbon you could always like puff it up at the end. Okay, trying to keep it as even as possible as far as length goes. And I see I run into the same problem again. We wanted to give it another little twist. Come on, twist again. Oh, finally. Twist with the wrong side up, so when we flippity flop it over, we see the pretty side. Ooh. And then from here, you're going to continue that same pattern of flipping and flopping and twisting. Fun. And as we do this, you can decide how many petals you want your bow to have. I'm not a fan of making semi or medium maintenance crafts more complicated than they need to be, because we all like a little zhuzh, but not necessarily want to take out rulers and whatnot to make it happen. So here we can see that I just finished my flippity flops. I think I did 3 on each side. Let's see. Grabbing it by the middle, notice how that little tail is still at the bottom. Okay. Cute, right? At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of floral wire and I am going to wrap it around that part that's pinched and twist to death to hold the bow together. So at this point I took my wire cutters to trim off the excess, but you can see there are some pointers looking right at us. So instead of injuring the people you're giving gifts to, I like to take whatever hardware is around me, or you could just use the pliers like I did. I'm going to mash it down. Nobody needs to be poked. No thank you, ma'am. And then I'm going to start floofing up that bow. It's a good idea normally to try to separate everything before you start like styling it, because it's really easy to get frustrated if you can get frustrated by ribbon, which apparently I can. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling them apart, kind of twisting them, just, you know, giving them their own life, making them look amazing. Ooh, so cute, right? The bow has been semi-fluffed, so now I'm going to take my wire ribbon cutting scissors and I'm going to cut on a diagonal to free myself from the roll. And now you could just put this on a gift and call it a day, but here we go. I am managing these tails. Now you notice I took that little nubbin in from the beginning. I'm just trying to hide it with the tail that I have currently cut off. And I'm twisting to make sure the pretty side of the ribbon is face up, and I'm looping it around. And oh my gosh, it's just looking even cuter and cuter. And at this point, I'm sure you're like, well, how's it gonna stay in place? I'm about to show you. So I have my handy hot glue gun that apparently is handy but not willing to stand up. And I have my bow here, and what I'm simply going to do is lay down some hot glue and make that tail adhere to it. And once all of the gluing is settled, we will go back in and fluff the life out of this thing. And there she is, that lovely bow. Next, we're going to put it on the gift. So I have my ribbon. I'm giving myself a good size tail because I've always made that mistake and then didn't have enough at the end. But I use my thumb to hold it in place. And what I'm going to do is take that ribbon and slide it underneath that present like a sneaky snake and have it meet in the middle, right there, as you can see. And then I'm using that tail for leverage, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist in a moment. Twist. Okay. And I'm using that knot to hold it in place, letting the tail do its thing. Okay, and why am I still doing this? Okay, there, and I'm using my thumb again to hold that knot in place, looking for that pretty side, just trying to turn it up, but I'm obviously not paying that much attention to it. And again, sneaky snake underneath, meet where all the ribbons gather, and I'm going to give it another twist as I'm slowly showing you here. And then I'm going to take that tail and be an even sneakier snake, slide it underneath. Come on. Come on. Okay, there. There I go. I slid it. And I believe, yes. Okay. Tug of war. I'm going to just tie it off with a simple knot. Then I'm going to line up my tail with the ribbon, make a little marker because I can, because it's wired, and then I'm going to grab my good old scissors and cut that off. And now Miss Bow comes back into play, and I'm simply setting it on top and being mindful of my ribbon. Oh, I'm so glad I was mindful. I wasn't sure if I was or wasn't. And I am finessing the ribbon to attach it to the gift that we just wrapped the ribbon around. Now, there isn't always going to be a super straightforward answer for this. Sometimes you could get away with just knotting it and fluffing it. Doesn't matter. But at this point, I'm just going to do another little simple knot, sneaky snake method. Ooh, I like that idea, sneaky snake method. And pull it through. Cool. And then tie it up and hide those edges. Continue to have a finesse party. Okay, then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm cutting the ribbon on an angle as always. And then you could take your time, grab a beverage, trim up some ends that you totally forgot about and just make it super duper pretty. Woo! And there you have it. Amazing looking bow on a present that you wrapped with your 2 loving hands. And now here's an easier way to make a bow. I'm proving to you that it's wired ribbon, and as you can see, both sides look great, so we don't have to worry about it. Right here, I'm showing you, you can make it as big as you want or as teeny as you want. Completely up to you. So apparently, that's where I want to start making my loop. And I'm keeping in mind that there's a little bit of a tail, and I'm making kind of like a smush down ribbon candy thing, right? So I'm going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this time around it looks like I'm doing 4 on each side, so I have 8 loops total, is what I'm thinking. Yep. And then I take those scissors, cut that thing free from the spool. Now I am just making sure everything is as even with my eyeball as possible, and then I get hungry. What I'm going to do here is make a sandwich. Just fold it in half. And I'm creasing because I need to know where I'm going to cut. Now, we're not going to cut everything in half or anything. We're just going to cut little notches or slits on each side of the bent part or sandwich part of the ribbon. Now, generally, I kind of just pick it up and cut them all at once, but this ribbon was particularly thick wired, so I'm just going through each notch and cutting it. It's whatever, it's fine, you could do it. And then once I'm done with the one side, I flippity flop it, fold it back up. Can't cut it through all the layers, so I'm going through again, just cutting my notches. After folding all of that up, I'm going to go ahead and take my wreath wire and cut off a piece and tie it up. You could give that little middle piece a bit of a scrunchy McScrunchington. And I'm just twisting, trying to get things right. Okay. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and take my wire cutters and cut them off. Keeping in mind there's a pointy thing and that's no good. We don't want to hurt anybody. So I'm just going to make it not pointy. And now it's everybody's favorite part, the finessing. I'm opening the loops first, and then from there I like kind of pretend it's like a Rubik's Cube, and I kind of start twisting and separating and just doing whatever I think feels right. You know, just go with your feelings, okay? You're making a bow, okay? Make it with your heart. And then when you've had enough, you have this pretty car looking bow, which is like, wow, I can't believe I made that. But it really wasn't that hard. Beautiful.
If you were working along with me, I will be really surprised if you didn't poke yourself at all. I feel like that's like the charm of the ribbon. It's like pokey. Anyway, I hope the video was helpful. I hope your presents come out beautiful. Or if you just want to make bows for no reason, do it. I mean, why not? I mean, you know, make bows.